As we know that when we manage the supply chain, the network planning will have a significant impact on our performance. That's why it's very important to know how to design a network. That's why in the chapter 3 today we will learn about network planning. And the reference for this chapter is the chapter 5 of the book Sunit Chopra, Supply Chain Management Strategy, Planning and Operation. I already introduced you in the uh, syllabus. So for more detailed information, you can take a look at this chapter. And our learning expectation is after learning this lesson, you have to understand the role of network design in the supply chain, and you are able to identify the factors that influence the supply chain network design decisions. And you have to know how to develop a framework for making network design decisions. And the final one, you should know how to use the optimization for facility location and capacity allocation decisions. So to achieve the to achieve the expectations, we will go through 5 main contents today. The first one is the role of network design in the supply chain. The second is factors influencing supply chain network design decisions. And the next part is the framework for making network design decisions. And then we will go to see the models for facility location and capacity allocation decisions. And final is the network design decision in projects. And let's see what is the role of network design in the supply chain. So a supply chain network design decision include the assignment of facility role, the location of manufacturing, storage, or transportation related facilities, and the allocation of capacity and markets to each facility. The supply chain network design decision can be classified to be facility role, facility location, capacity allocation, and market and supply chain allocation. So in facility role, we answer the question, what role should each facility play? What processes are performed at each facility? So for example, in our supply chain, we have supplier, manufacturing, maybe wholesaler, retailer, and customers. So we have to determine each facility role, what they do and what process we do in each facility. Okay. And the second one is facility location. Where should facilities be located? Where should you put your manufacturer? Where you should put your distribution center or logistics center, so on and so forth. For facility location decisions, we already learned in the course principle of logistics and supply chain management in freshman in the first year. And you know that facility location decision is a long-term decision and it's difficult to reverse because it is very expensive to shut down a facility or move it to a different location, right? So you have to consider very carefully when you make the facility location decision. The next one is capacity allocation. You have to determine how much capacity should be allocated at each facility. And the capacity allocation can be altered more easily than location. but the capacity decision tends to place tend to stay in place for several years. So if you allocate too much capacity in a facility, you will increase the cost, for example inventory cost, and the result is you will have a poor utilization. But if you locate too little capacity to a location, it will result in poor responsiveness if the demand is not satisfied. Or if the customer is far from the facility, the transportation cost will increase. It's about the capacity allocation. How about the market and supply allocation? In here, we have to determine what markets should each facility serve, and which supply source should fit each facility. And the allocation of supply source and market affect the total production, inventory, and transportation costs to satisfy the customer demand. When we make the network design decisions, we also have to consider the market condition change, or when two companies merge. Or let me give you an example. The Netflix company, they have around like 58 DCs distribution centers by 2010, so that they can lower the transportation costs and also improve the responsiveness. However, with the growth in video streaming and the corresponding drop in DVD rental, so Netflix uh, decide to close almost 20 distribution center by 2013. So you can see so far Netflix developed very fast and become like one of the most popular company in the world, uh, because they can see the market change and they change their network design decision based on the market condition change. So all in all, the network design decision have a significant impact on performances, so that we have to uh, make a careful decision when we design a network in a supply chain. So to do those, we have to consider those factors that influence the supply chain network design decision. So first is the strategic factor. So based on different strategy of different companies, they will have different network design decision. For example, a company that focus on cost leadership, they want to reduce their cost as much as possible. They will tend to find the lowest cost location, although it's located far from the markets they serve. For example, an electronics manufacturing named Foxconn in Taiwan, they they have been successful in providing low-cost electronics assembly because they locate their factories in low-cost countries such as China or Vietnam. That's why now Foxconn become one of the largest company, like semiconductor company in Taiwan. Not only in Taiwan but also in Asia. Okay. However, if a company that focus on the responsiveness, they will locate their facility closer to the market they serve. They don't care if that location is high cost, as long as that location can help them react quickly to the changing market needs. For example, Yara. So thanks to those responsiveness, Zara became one of the largest apparel retailers in the world. Or another example like convenience store and warehouse club. So the focus purpose of a convenience store is provide the easy access to the customer. That's why they open a lot of stores, although it's small, but it's maybe in district one they have like 10 or 20 20 convenience store. However, like the discount store or warehouse club like Costco, they use the competitive strategies is provide the low price. That's why their network have like large stores instead of the small stores like convenience store. They have large stores and not really close to the center. Maybe the customer have to travel quite far to go to the warehouse club or discount store to buy their products. However, because they offer the low price, so the customer agree to travel further to buy the products. So the geographic area can cover by one warehouse club or discount store may include like dozens and a lot of convenience store. Let me give you an example. Maybe in district 1 you have around district 1 we have let me say it's supermarket is also can be an example because uh, we don't have much warehouse club here in Vietnam. So let's say Big C. Maybe we only have 2 or 3 supermarkets, Big C and District 1. However, we have maybe 30 or 40 convenience store in District 1 because their strategy, the strategy they focus is are different. For Big C is offer the lower price, and for convenience store they offer the easy access for the customer. The next factor that influence the supply chain network design decisions is technological factors. So if the production technology displays a significant economies of scale, a few higher capacity locations are most effective. For example, when a company manufacture the computer chips, and when you produce the computer chips, they require a large investment. However, the computer chips is very small, so it's not expensive to transport. So in this case, they will build a high capacity facilities, and this one is suitable for the semiconductor companies. However, if the facilities have lower fixed cost, or they will prefer locating many local facilities because it help lower the transportation cost. For example, the bottling plants for Coca-Cola, they do not have high fixed cost, So Coca-Cola prefers setting up many bottling plants at our world so they can reduce their transportation cost. And the third factor is microeconomic factors. And here we separate it in three small factors. The first one is tariffs and tax incentives. So tariffs is the duties that the company have to pay when they want to move the products across the international states or city. Or maybe when you want to export product from Vietnam to UK, you have to pay for tariff. Okay, and if the country has the high tariff, they will prefer, for example, if I want to uh, export products from Vietnam to UK, but the tariff fee is very high, so I will prefer locate my manufacturing in UK so that I can reduce the tariff fee. So high tariffs will lead to more production locations within a supply chain network. With each location will have a lower allocated capacity. How about tax incentives? Tax incentives is the policy of reduction in tariff or tax so that the countries or the state or cities provide to encourage the firms to locate their facilities in specific area. So for example, before the company usually locate their manufacturer in China. However, recently they tend to move to Vietnam because of two reasons. First one is because of their okay, our target market is US. Okay, so before company want to manufacture in put their manufacturer in China, then they will produce here and deliver to US, export to US from China. Beside the labor cost, the China moved to the companies move their factory from China to Vietnam because of two reasons. The first one is because the Cold War between China and US, and the second one is because the tariff US have the policy that they have the tax incentives for Vietnam. That's why they move their factory to Vietnam so that they can reduce the tax and tariff. Okay, the next factor is exchange rate and demand risk. So let me give you an example. As you know, the fluctuation in exchange rates are very common, right? And it has a significant impact on the profit of the supply chain. Let's say in 2007, 1 USD is equal to 124 yen, Japanese dollar. But 2010, 1 USD is equal to 81 yen. So the value of Japanese dollars increase, right? So we consider the first case when in 2007 when 1 USD is equal to 124 Japanese yen. So if my factory is in Japan, if my factory is in Japan and the cost of produce 1 unit of product is 124 yen, and I export the product to US, and I sell with the price $5. So the profit I gain is $4, right? The profit. However, in 2010, let's say my production cost is same 100 1124 yen. So in US I also sell at the price $5, but the profit I earn is only $3.4, because at this time the cost $124 will equal to around 1.53 USD. It's not $1 anymore, so the profit will decrease. So in this case, if the value of Japanese yen increase, the factory in Japan who export to US will get hurt. Their profit will decrease. Okay, but if the company located in US, it will be converse way. They will get their profit can increase thanks to the fluctuation in exchange rate, right? So that's why the company have to consider the fluctuation in exchange rate when they make the network design decision. They have to see where they should locate their factory when there is a common fluctuation in exchange rate. And also the companies have to consider the fluctuation in the demand caused by the change in the economy of different countries. For example, in 2009, the economies of the United States and the Western Europe shrank, decreased. The real GDP in the US decreased by 2.4%, but the China and India increased. So that if they locate their factory in China and in India, they will have a better performance in their profit, in their managing the company. Okay, so if they have flexibility to divert the resource from US to China or from Europe to India, they will be better. Okay, and the next factors is the freight and the fuel cost. The freight and the fuel cost. So we also have the fluctuation in freight and fuel cost. And the fluctuation in freight and fuel cost will affect the profit of the global supply chain. So if the fuel cost increase, increase and the freight cost increase, it means the transportation cost will increase. So they have to consider where they should put, how they should design their network, where should they put the element like factory or distribution center when there is a fluctuation in the transportation cost. So all in all, when we design the supply chain network, the company have to consider the fluctuations in exchange rate, demand, freight, and fuel cost. And we will go to the next factors that affect the supply chain network design decision, that is political factors. So of course, when you want to locate your factory or your logistics center or your distribution center, you prefer locate your facilities in a politically stable country, right? Where the rules of commerce and ownerships are well defined. And the rule of commerce or a common language in trading, we call it Incoterms. So we will learn it next week. No one companies will prefer locating their facilities in like North Korea or where the economy is not open, or in the country that there are politic uh, the country that has have a lot of political issues. So we have to consider like the government, the society, security, and economy. The next factor is infrastructure factor. This one is very important because the infrastructure factors are the infrastructure can describe their development of the economy of that country, of that area. So the availability of good infrastructure is very important to locate a facility. So we are prefer locate our facility in an area or in a city that they have a good infrastructure, so that we can reduce the cost of doing business there. And we also consider the competitive factor. What is competitive factors? I will talk about this, or maybe after I go through the last two factors. So let's see the next factor that affect the supply chain network design decisions: the customer response time and the local presence. And if the company that their target customer is the person who value the short response time, they have to locate close to the customer. However, if their target customer care more about the price, they don't care more, they care less about the response time, then they can choose their strategy. They can locate their facility in a place that further to customer but lower cost, so that they can reduce the cost, then reduce the price for the customer. It's same as the example I gave you earlier about convenience store and the warehouse club Costco. Okay. The logistics and facility cost. They have to consider the inventory, the transportation, facility cost when they design their supply chain networks. When the number of facility in a supply chain increase, the inventory and the facility cost will increase. However, the transportation cost will decrease. So we have to come according to the logistic and facility cost. We have to compromise like how many facility they should locate and where they should locate, so that they can minimize the total cost. Okay, so let's go back to the competitive factors. So in competitive factors, we have the positive externality between the firms. It means that all the elements in the supply chain get benefit from the co-location of mutual firms. And the companies tends to locate are where that can capture the largest market share. And here let me introduce you the wholesaling model. So let's say we have two companies, company A and company B. So if they and we assume that the customers are distributed uniformly distributed along this line, this straight line, and two company A and B will locate here and here, and the company A will serve the customer from here to here, and the company B will serve the customer from here to here, from B to 1, and they will share the customer in the middle. So half of this one is served by company A and half of this one is served by company B. Okay, and we have the total demand of the company A is equal to A, this area, plus half of this area, that is 1 minus B minus A divided by 2. And the company B will serve the customer D2 is equal to this area from B to 1, that is 1 here, 1 minus 1 plus B, and is equal to B, and half of this area, so we have B plus 1 minus B minus A divided by 2. So we will have the total demand of the total customer that the company B serve is 1 plus B minus A divided by 2. So the company tends to move to near each other, next to each other. So here, A here and B here, so that they can maximize their market share. However, this case is only considered, this wholesaling model is only considered when the price is the same and the competition is fair. But if the price is different between A and B, the customer here they will not share half. Maybe the proportion will be different, and we will learn it in the next lessons about how to locate, how to split the market based on the price. Okay, so we just go through the role of the network design decision and what kind of factors influence the supply chain network design decision. And now we will see how we can develop a framework for network design decision. So here is a figure that shows the general picture of the framework. Here we can see we have four main phase of the framework for network design decision, and based on what kind of factor, what kind of strategy they will develop the phase. For example, for phase one, um, we do the supply chain strategy. They based on the competitive strategy or internal constraint and global competition. They will uh, determine the supply chain strategy, and we will go more detail for it. So let me summarize. We have four main phases. The first one is we define a supply chain strategy or supply chain design. And in the next phase, we will define the regional facility configuration. And in the phase 3, we select a set of desirable potential sites. And in the last phase, we will make the location choice. The objective of the first phase of network design is to define the firm's broad supply chain design, and they will decide if they should produce in-house or outsource, and also they will make a clear definition of the firm's competitive strategy, and to do that one, first they will uh, make a set of customer needs. What is the customer requirements to the supply chain for supply chain to satisfy, and then based on those requirements of the customers, the supply chain strategy will specify what capabilities of the supply chain network must have to uh, satisfy those requirements. And also they will see if their competitor are local company or global company, and then they will identify the constraint on available capital. They have to determine if with their existing facility can they satisfy all the requirement of the customer, or they have to build more uh, new facility, or they have to partner with other company. And then they will determine their growth strategy. And in the second phase, the objective of this phase is to identify the region where the facilities will be located, and their potential roles and their approximate capacity. Uh, they will forecast the demand of the country or region, and they will identify if the economies of scale or scope can play a significant role in reducing cost given the available production technologies. So if the economies of scale or scope are significant, they will prefer to have a few facility with higher capacity, like the example about the computer chips I gave you earlier. And then the managers have to identify the demand risk, exchange rate risk, and also political risk with the regional markets. And then they have to identify the competitors in each region so that they can determine if they should locate near, next to, close, or far from the competitors' facility. In here, you can use the hoteling model as I introduced you earlier. So normally they will tend to close each other, close to your competitor if you want to capture the largest market share. But if based on the competitive price, they will tend to uh, locate far from the competitors. And in the third phase, we will select a set of desirable potential sites. So to select the desirable potential site, we have to do the analysis of infrastructure availability, and we separate the infrastructure into two types. The first one is hard infrastructure requirements, and the second one is soft. uh, what are they? The hard infrastructure requirements include the availability of the suppliers, uh, the transportation service or communication or warehouse facility. The soft infrastructure requirements include like the availability of skilled workforce or the workforce turnover or the community receptivity to business and industry. And the final phase, we make the location choice. So from among potential sites and a precise location and capacity allocation for each facility, you will select a precise location and capacity location for each facility. And those are the framework of network decision making. And now we will go to an example how to develop a model for facility location and capacity allocation decisions, so that you will understand more how to apply those things to the reality. So when we make the model for facility location and capacity allocation decision, our objective is maximize the overall profitability of the supply chain network, while we provide the customer with appropriate responsiveness. So we want to maximize our profit while we can satisfy all the requirements of the customer. And when you make decision, you have to consider many trade-offs during the network design. Uh, I also mentioned a lot of trade-off earlier. For example, if you decide to open a high capacity uh, facility, you can reduce the uh, building cost, the fixed cost of building the facility, uh, and you can take advantage of the economy of scale. However, the transportation cost will increase. But if you open a low capacity low capacity facility, you can reduce the transportation cost, but uh, you will not take advantage of the economy of scale, or the building cost will increase. So that is trade-off. That's why you have to be careful when you make the location or allocation decision. And the network design models used to decide on the location and capacity to be assigned to each capacity, and also assign the current demand to available facility. So important information that you have to consider, that you have to make the design decision. The first one is the location of supply source and market. You should know where is your supply and your market. so that you will decide where you should locate your facility. And also you have to know the location of the potential facility site, and also the demand forecast by market, because we tend to locate to the market that the demand is higher, for example. And also we have to consider uh, the facility labor and material cost by site. So those information are very important. You want to minimize your cost, so when you want to locate your facility in that site, you have to know the labor cost or material cost in that site. And also you should know about the transportation cost between each pair of slides, or inventory cost, also the price that you can sell your products in different regions, because for example the same products, but the price in to the district will be different from the price in district 1. And also we need to know the tax or a tariff in that region, in that country or city, and also the response time to customer and other service factors. So let's look at this example. The Sun Oil manufacturer, they have the demand region is here from 5 regions: North America, South America, Europe, Asia, and Africa. And the supply region is also 5 regions. And we have the demand of America is 12. From B9 to F9 is the demand, annual demand of the market here, America, South America, Europe. And here from B4 to F8 is the production and transportation cost per 1 million units. And we have the fixed cost. If we open a facility with low capacity in North America, it costs us $6,000. If we locate the low capacity in South America, it costs us $4,500. And the capacity of the low capacity facility is 10 million units. And the same if we are open a high capacity facility in North America, it costs us, the fixed cost is $9,000. So please understand how to interpret, how to read those numbers in this table. And now Sun Oil manufacturer have to decide either where they should open the new facility. First is where? In North America, South America, or Europe. And the second question is they should, for example, they determine they should build their facility in Asia. So they have 2 options. They should open the low capacity facility or high capacity. So that is the second question. And the third question is, after they determine where they should open the new facility and what type of facility they should open, low capacity or high capacity, they will determine how many units they will deliver to that area so that they can satisfy the demand of the market. And the objective they want to achieve is to minimize the total cost. Okay, please listen to this part very carefully, because this one is very important, and you can also use this one for your thesis topic. So we have three three questions we have to answer, with the objective is to minimize the total cost. So I will build the model for that problem. So I give the notation n is the number of potential plants, location, or capacity. So here n is equal to potential plant is equal to 5 in this case, right? Potential plant is in North America, South America, Europe, and Asia, and Africa. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and I will locate this one is I, the index i's, and we have M is the number of market of the or the main point. So how many market we have here? We also have North America, South America, Europe, Asia, and Africa. So we have 5 markets, right? 5. And I will put the index J. Index J for the market. So market J and plant I. Okay. The next one, DJ, is the annual demand from market J. So for example, market North America, the demand is 12. So I say the demand in the market 1. North America J is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And here also 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So when J equal to 1 is the market is the North America. Okay, so we have DJ is the annual demand from market J. Ki is the potential capacity of plant I. So Ki is the potential capacity. So I say K1. K1 in this case will equal to the capacity of the plant in North America. So it can be 6,000. Capacity. So it should be either 10 million or 20 million, right? If we open the high capacity facility, we have the capacity is 20, and if we open the low capacity, the capacity will be 10 million. And Fi is the annualized fixed cost of keeping plant I open. So if we open the North America plant, the fixed cost, the F1 here, 1 is represent for North America. So F1 will equal to 6,000. F1 will equal to 6,000 if we open the low capacity facility, and the F1 will equal to 9,000 if we open the high capacity plant, right? And next we have Cij is the cost of producing and transportation cost are from plant I to market J. So let me ask you, if I have C11, that is the cost of producing products in plant 1, that is, let's say C11. So the first one is the plant. So plant 1 is in North America, and one here is the market 1 and also North America. So the cost, the production cost and the transportation cost from North America to North America is 81 million. Sorry, 81 thousand dollars. $81. Okay. So if I ask C12, C12 will be the cost of production in North America. Okay, C12 is the production cost in North America and the transportation cost from North America to South America, that is 92. Okay, so Cij will represent the value from before to F8. So here is C11, here is C12, here is C21. Okay, please understand the index. I is for plant and J is for the market. And I have a binary variable that is yi. If yi is equal to 1, if the plant I is open, and iy is equal to 0 if the plant is not open in the location I. And xij is the quantity will be shipped from the plant I to the market J. And our objective function is minimize the total cost. So the total cost will include the fixed cost plus the variable cost. So how can we calculate the fixed cost? Fixed cost will equal to the fixed cost of keeping the plant I open times yi. If the plant I is open, then yi equal to 1. And if not, the fixed cost will become 0. Okay? And we take the sum of the fixed cost when I is from the plant is from 1 to n, and n here is 5, right? And we have the constraint. The first one is the total quantity shipped from the plant I to market J will equal to the demand from market J. That is the first one. And the second one is okay, sorry, this one should be less than or equal. Okay, so the total quantity shipped from the plant I to the market J has to be less than or equal to the capacity. So the total quantity shipped cannot be larger than the capacity. And the binary variable yi will belong to 0 or 1. So how we can solve? We have this one is objective function and the constraint. We have 3 constraints. So how we can solve this problem? We can use 2 ways. The first one is we use solver in Excel, or the second one we use other software like Bingo or Cplex. So first I will teach you how to solve this problem in Excel. This is easier way. So the same we have three constraints. Do you still remember? So I include the decision variable, that is this table, and this from B15 to F19 will represent for the total quantity shift from the market I, the plan I to the market J. So for example, B15 will be the total quantity will be shipped from North America to North America. Okay. Then the plan is equal to 1 if G15 equal to 1, it means that we will open the plan with low capacity. And here if it's equal to 1, if H15 equal to 1, it means that we will open the plan with high capacity. Okay. And I also calculate the column for the variable cost and fixed cost, and also the total quantity shift from all plant to the market. And also I calculate the total quantity shift from one plant to all the market, then compare with the capacity of plant.